Blast, blast off. Hello, hear ye. Welcome to the Tuesday, March 3rd, uh, Arts and Cultural Commission meeting. Quick roll call. Brian Casper, Chair. I am present. Stephen Rust.
Here.
Thank you. Nori Gruden.
I'm here.
Hello, Nori. Melissa Matuska.
Here.
Thank you. And Janae Sylvester.
Here.
Thank you. That is a quorum. We will get cracking here. First and foremost, acceptance of the minutes. We didn't have any meeting in February, so this will be our January 6th minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read over the minutes, and are there any additions or corrections? I myself have none. Okay. Take that as a yes. Do we have a motion to accept these minutes?
I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Nori. Brian Casper, vote aye. Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Thank you, Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Cheers, and Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes carry. Next on our agenda, public participation. Sabrina, do we have anyone here
We
who
do.
would like to address the commission?
Diane, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Good evening, and this is the first time. Happy New Year. I have not been speaking to this commission since last year. So I wanted to speak to you with good hopes that we can improve certain administrative and plans that this commission puts forth. First on the agenda under old business is the Arts and Cultural Plan update. I have not memorized the entire plan yet, or the draft, but I wanted to make sure, and I will be interested in seeing any comments related to the provision in the plan of how to acquire donations for many or all of your projects. That includes murals, it includes things like the holiday parties. I know that you folks made a big effort to put together partnerships. And as you recall, I stated that there were too many hoops to jump through. But for those folks that just want to give money, there could be provisions for making sure that they do not get any favoritism. I mean, every other group is able to take money donations without actually that donor owning the event. And so I'm hoping that your plan includes how straight donations can work, because the public, the taxpayers, cannot continue to spend money on certain things in our city. Secondly, under new biz, it's the Connecticut Avenue and Route 1 underpass mural project. I am hoping that we should avoid duplication of the problems encountered on the West Avenue mural issue and the Ely Avenue mural issue. So if there is a plan to include the public, I want to make sure that there is a listening session. This is just a suggestion, a listening session up front, not in the middle, not at the end, but up front, to see what type of mural, the theme, so that you can request the public's input when you are doing the RFP, instead of the reversal process where it was like freewheeling. And the problem is that it did not incorporate a lot of what the public wanted related to history and neighborhoods. This has to do with the West Avenue project. Still don't think that turned out that well myself. I'm not alone, but what's done is done. Let's not keep, please, for 2026, learn from the mistakes and also embrace the good intent that I know you have, but the mistakes have been quite upsetting to people, frustrating for people like me that care about good government. And I still see the same faces in these meetings with no accountability. So I'm hoping at the very least we will have a total change on how we do murals and competitions to make it more fair, more transparent up front, and better planned. And that goes out to the staff and the commissioners, the volunteers. I appreciate the service you give, but when we keep repeating, that is a problem. So I thank you for letting me speak, and I hope you take my words to heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Is there anyone else, Sabrina?
That is all I have.
Oh, I thought I saw another person. It was just note taker.
Can I comment on that? Because we didn't have the final say, the Common Council did. Because I was upset about what happened, but the Common Council was the one who voted. We gave our recommendation. We had no say in that.
Sure,
So
Yeah,
to put the
that's-
blame all on us is not fair.
it's worth noting.
This is Melissa. I would like to also make a comment.
Go ahead.
I do believe that there should be a first screening with the Arts Commission because I feel like we have a certain level of expertise. I understand her passion for history and I get that, but we go in screening and do a good job of screening. You know, we make sure to give first priority to those who are local. We also, you know, we look to see if it fits within the guidelines, you know, all the restrictions that we're looking for. So I disagree with letting the public having the first one. They're more than welcome to have the second and third, but the first one should go to the Arts Commission because that's what our expertise is. And we are making sure that everyone fits within the correct guidelines.
Yeah,
Agreed.
well said.
Is there, does anyone happen to have a recap of the problems Laura was mentioning or Diane
mean,
was mentioning?
It's all public record.
Mhm.
I'm
I mean, I
sure
remember some of it, but
yeah,
sure,
I'm
it's
su- I'm sure we can compile it. You know, if that's something that you want to dig back through some of that stuff. But sure, I mean, as we slide into sort of subcommittees and things like that, it may be worth you know, rehashing some of those things. But
I mean, and we asked for public participation, and a lot of times no one shows up. We've tried.
true.
And,
Very
you
true.
know, unfortunately, once things are approved and people don't like it, that's when they get vocal. So I would wish that, you know, we go
Mhm.
to the communities and say, we want your feedback, and we might get the loudest voices, but it's not the majority.
hmm
And then the majority sees what happens, and then they're mad, but they didn't come to us in the beginning
That
to
is
say,
true.
hey, look, you know,
Well,
so
I mean, it's
it's really hard. I mean, we have good intentions, but
no,
we don't get the engagement that we need. And I'm
no,
happy that Diane is very passionate about this and bringing stuff to our attention because she cares that much. And I wish other, you know, it'd be nice if other people were this passionate.
yeah. Well, perhaps I mean, we have Janae's event coming up, and that could be a good opportunity for us to be a little bit more proactive at those community events. That might be a good first step, an easy one. Encouraging people to attend these meetings, encouraging people to let us know what they want to see, and that is also part of the arts and cultural plan that is being put together by our consultant firm that we hired. So, yeah. Anyway, all valid points. Okay, so it looks like we are on to old business. This is a good, actually perfect hacky sack over to Janae. Janae has an event coming up in April, that's right. And Janae, you just want to give us a little update and or call to action if there is one. Take it away.
Yeah, sure. Um, I would say, I guess, Steve, I would actually direct it towards you. So I'm not managing this event, or I guess
Oh,
it's been kind of like a group project here. I'm more focused on leading Make Music Day,
okay.
which we just connected on, actually yesterday. Mark, Sabrina, Anna, and I connected on Make Music Day and just starting to get things rolling with that. I think in terms of the April event, um, Stephen was kind enough to at least facilitate the first meeting that we had. I do think my flag was going to be for this meeting today was that I think we need to put another one on the books for sometime soon if possible.
Agreed.
And I wanted to see Stephen if you would be willing, or I don't know, Sabrina, or like whoever, if someone can just I guess corral us to get back together again and make sure that we start aligning on those details. I think we still have a bit of time because it's end of April. I think we knew the date and the location, but just within refining some of the logistics.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to you know, get interested parties together on a call. And I think last time we did that, the terrific thing was that Bob came up with the venue and
Yes.
Mhm.
all of that, right? So Mark had a part of that as well. I think a number of us were talking about ways to contribute, but I think one thing was the budget and how much, what are the available funds
Mhm.
was one question. Is
Well, we
that
still, yeah,
is there
Sabrina, can you remind us of what's left in the sort of event bucket?
Give me 1 second. I can
Okay.
pull up the spreadsheet that we track everything on so I can give you an exact number.
Great. Steve, remind me the date on this one. It's like April 20th or something like that.
I'd have to look it up. Hang on one sec.
Okay. Yeah.
April 30th
30.
is what I
Oh,
have.
30th. Oh, okay. Near the end of the month. Okay. I
That's
thought it
great.
was a little early. Great.
Yeah, the more time, the better.
Yeah. Um, and remind me, it's just meant to be, it's kind of a mix and mingle thing. It's in conjunction with a show that is going to be at St. Philip's, correct?
Yes.
That's going on at sort of the same time. Okay, great. That's great. Join forces, so to speak. Um, okay.
Just
Is there anything else lingering that needs to be sort of taken care of with that outside of budget and maybe just some general organizational stuff?
there were, some ideas sent out about, performance, perhaps,
Mm,
maybe uh, actual, you know, uh, scheduled performance, I guess you could say, maybe even some dance,
mhm.
and definitely some music, maybe, but I think Mark was kind of taking that on, and I'll check back in with him, I guess maybe is a good way to start, see where that's at. Uh,
Yeah,
We have, just to update you all, we have 14,000 left in that account.
and that's good till June, right?
June 30th. Yep.
June 30th. Okay, so we've got with the April, let's call it a May or a June event. I mean, that's a fair amount of money that has to be spent, otherwise we lose it for this. For these events, I encourage something like dance or music performance. Yeah, I always advocate for paying performers. I don't think we should allow them to play for free. So since we have the money, let's pay some musicians. Let's get some people to
yeah.
do a couple of things. I fully agree.
Do they, I mean, I know it's best if it's local Norwalk musicians, correct?
Yeah, you sort of start in the center of the
Yep.
target, and then
Yep.
as you need to, you just grow that target.
Sure. And
But yeah,
did I,
let's just go ahead.
okay, sorry, did I hear that right? It's 14 divided by 3 events?
2.
Well,
2,
maybe two.
even better.
I mean, there can be a third event if we want to do one. I mean, it's not just the 2, it's just 2 we've already talked about, which is the one coming up in April and then another one this summer.
Maybe I should do my long awaited live painting mural off event. And people put their
Now,
money where their mouth is.
if we asked like Danny's students to perform at SPAG or the
I would
Norwalk Symphony, Or
again, I would
without-
advocate that we are paying those performers, even if they are students.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what I mean. Like,
every time in the past that we've used Danny's students, we make a donation either to the school or directly to the student.
I mean, or the Norwalk Youth Symphony, so they get
Yeah.
exposure as well, and maybe donate money to
Sure.
them because I know they take trips.
I was gonna
I
say with,
fully
Danny,
support.
I think he may be, I forgot exactly what he's supposed to be planning an event. I think it must be Q3. So they may be involved in that one. So it may be good to tap other organizations. But other than that, I think it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's moving forward. Just keep everybody updated. Make sure, let's send out a calendar invite too, just so we can put it in their calendars. I clearly had already forgotten the date. I want to definitely mark it. I want to, use the opportunity to make ourselves known. So maybe we should all wear hats, top hats. This is the Arts
So-
Commission. We're wearing top hats. All right. Unless you don't have anything else, Stephen, we can move on.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think one of the number one invitees will be Diane Lauricella. Is that her last name? I mean,
Laura Cella.
Laura
That's
Cella.
how you pronounce it.
And, so do we have contact information for her?
I believe we do.
Okay. Sabrina, if you could send that my way, I'd start a conversation with her. Thanks.
Okay. Art and culture plan approval. This is the consultancy thing, right, Sabrina?
Yeah, so I can just
Yeah.
talk about it really quickly. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. We have been through the approval through this body. We've been through the approval on Common Council. So those are the two major steps. So the plan technically right now is approved. There will be a public hearing tomorrow night at 6:00 at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to amend the POCD, so our Plan of Conservation and Development, to include the plan. So essentially formally officializes it in the actual larger plan for the city. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can request funding to execute on the plan, essentially.
Cool.
And be able to make those requests. So that public hearing will happen tomorrow. And then the following meeting, they have 2 meetings a month. So the second meeting is the 18th, I believe. That's when the full plan approval for the amendment to the POCD will happen. So the plan's approved, it's just not amended to the POCD yet. But that's it. That's the update.
Right on. Great. Yeah, and just for everybody's sort of clarification and for the record, I suppose, I think what Diane was talking about and this are sort of two different things. She was speaking more to like our sort of commission's internal operating procedures, and this is a little bit more citywide, a little bit more development, I guess you could say, oriented. So just to be clear. Okay, new business. So Sabrina has put, and I have put the Connecticut Avenue Route 1 underpass mural discussion as a topic, and there's sort of a subline to this. We don't need to go into great detail because this is like super early, but we have there is a budget. It's $100,000.
Let me check that really quickly. I had it
So
open.
as everybody knows, I've said it many times, I'd like to see every underpass in Norwalk get painted. We have a significant amount of money. There's been conversations about splitting it into 2 locations. There's been conversations about it being just 1 location. There's lots of things. So I guess all this to say is, well, I think probably the first big step here is to put together a subcommittee of 3 or 4 of us, to start to kind of hash out some details of what we want to see, things like that. And to bring back to the group and have maybe another mild discussion about it. So I don't have a lot here except for the fact that I want to start reaching. I'm probably going to send an email to everybody because not everybody's here too. Just seeing who's interested in helping develop the RFQ, request for qualifications, to be our big first step. And then maybe also within that, starting to have conversations about what. But the first step is finding artists who can do the job. And then, starting to tease out what it is. That's really it. And then sort of tied up in all of this is the, elephant in the room, which is, I think it is worthwhile for the Arts and Culture Commission to further develop our anti-AI policy and what that means, both in, I don't know, maybe some whys, but more importantly, what sort of safeguards we can take within our application process for public art that doesn't create this, I think it's AI, I don't think it's AI, let's have an argument about it. More like these are the file types, for example, that you as an artist need to provide with your proposal that demonstrate originality, and that you're not plagiarizing and not using AI or any sort of computer models to develop your concepts and proposals, because unfortunately we've already had a brush with it. So that my email will probably be a bit twofold. One is a sort of a subcommittee to start to hash out that, and the other is the subcommittee to start talking about the mural project. Sabrina, what was the number on the budget?
It was 100. So
it was 100.
We're right on that front.
Yeah.
And probably this time though I think in the subcommittee, number one, obviously talk about what we want the mural to be and all those qualifications that we want, et cetera,
Yep.
but also talk about ways we can get donation of paint. I know we got that like really late last time, which kind of messed up a lot of things for us. So I think in the subcommittee, ironing out what the potential is and making that ask ahead of time before we get to the finish line would be helpful. And additionally, last time we put the amount available for funding in the final RFP not the RFQ, I think it was the RFP. And we don't necessarily have to do that. That can be a decision at the committee level as well. If we want to include the amount of money that we have, it's not a secret, obviously. But we can also put out an RFP where people are putting an amount in there themselves.
I'm of two minds of that, but I don't want to have the discussion now because that could.
No, not at all. I'm just as a subcommittee conversation. I think those are kind of the three things. Obviously, the content that we want in it, kind of where we want it focused. If we want to put that price in there or not, and then also the donations piece, so that we're ironing that out all ahead of time. And I think there's some we might have to play around with the budget a little bit, just because there's costs associated that we weren't necessarily aware of ahead of time, but now we know because we did an underpass. So it's like things like storage on site, things like a lift, like those types of things that might have not been in the original proposal that we have to make sure are in there when we are doing that.
Yeah.
Power washing.
Yeah,
power washing.
that piece.
No, that's
we're doing that
group of volunteers, Stephen.
Yeah, that's our side gig. Remember? Come on.
Yes. How could I forget? This is the underpass at right across from Matthews and Stepping Stones, right? Yeah,
that's what we had originally talked about. I mean, it is there is no prescription here. If it starts to move and migrate and we think another location is better, we can certainly identify that. But the idea was that we would just kind of start growing out from the center that we've developed.
Yeah. That's good.
But all on the table. So yeah. Without getting too in the weeds on what and how and why, does anyone have any comments, concerns, anything there? This is gonna be like a world record meeting. Watch this.
Yes.
Everybody's asleep.
What would happen? This is just a crazy idea. What if we just asked Five Fingers to do it on a commission basis?
It is possible. As a commission, we do have the power to invite someone to do something that I warn you of the can of worms.
Well,
Um,
I would then like to split the money in half and have Oksana do one and him do the other.
and here's the can of worms.
and-
We just found it.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
This is what
because
ends up
I mean,
happening.
fair enough.
So as
you know,
as art and music are, they're very subjective. Obviously, their costs can range from millions and millions of dollars to for free. So
mhm.
that's why there's no official procurement process that we specifically have to follow. This is true for every government. There's not a true procurement process for arts. It's exempt. However, with that being said, we created our own process for that reason to make it a little bit more fair.
Yeah.
And that's where
And
we
we
are.
are
And
trying to
that
be
process can
transparent.
change and we don't have to follow it, but that's the reason why we created it, was to make it a little bit more open and fair with the public, but also to artists. So
All possible, but something to get in the weeds on offline a little bit and really hash out these things.
and I think the AI conversation within that is going to be important as well.
Yeah, I feel like it almost needs to happen first.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
what if you, well, we'll talk about the AI thing because sometimes the art style is borrowed. And I don't know if AI is that sophisticated enough to someone else is doing it, but does it recognize that's looking at anti-AI that the style is borrowed, but the person did it freehand?
Well, that's what I'm saying is if we develop certain parameters within our application process that ask for certain files that are sort of industry standards that start to whittle down that possibility. I think that's the sort of North Star here. And we just need to determine what that is, what's appropriate. Yeah. And, we've also talked about not explicitly saying it. I've seen other municipalities basically leave a line that says, if you used AI, please explain how and why, which is like the sort of bloodhound sniffing out without saying it. There's lots of ways to do it, but I think it's incredibly important. I think as an artist myself, I feel very passionate about this. So, Melissa, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. Is there a screening, like an art screening? I know like with students and teachers that you can put stuff through a process. Is there something that exists like that AI wise for art?
I mean, the problem is all these things are getting smarter by the day,
Yeah.
and they will be harder to detect. So like I said, it's more like if I show you a painting and say, I did this painting, and I have zero process pictures and it looks like AI, it's going to be harder for me to prove to you that I actually did the painting. So if we have people put forth proposals, we basically, because remember, when we get to proposal phase, we've already vetted the artist. We've already done that. Now we're down to whatever, 4 artists. We can be a little bit rigorous in that and say, show us how you did this. Show us your source imagery, which is also important too. I mean, there are copyright issues and plagiarisms and all these things. It's not just AI. So there are things we can ask, and they're not completely out of line for, someone who's developing a proposal for us, developing a design for us. They should be able to show what's more commonly referred to as discovery. It's a fancy word for sketches, discovery, and a through line as to how they got somewhere. And so I think if we build that into our process, it will just be a lot more clear. Before, I guess we didn't think we were going to have to face this as early as we did. We thought, especially for, the local artists, that we wouldn't have to deal with it. And so we didn't have those safeguards in place. And now is the time to make sure we have them next time. So that way, if someone says, I actually think this is real, we can point to it and say, well, this is the reasons why we don't think it is. And we use our expertise and knowledge of the media that they're submitting to make those decisions.
You're saying that if they submit a digital file in a certain format, that you can scan that in some way to find out if it has AI components?
Um, there is that, but as I mentioned, those detectors are becoming less trustworthy or less accurate, maybe is a better word to say. Um, it's more like if you are working digitally, especially if you're working digitally, there is usually a pretty distinct record, a digital record of you making that file. And the easiest example I can give you is there's a very common app called Procreate that you use, a terrible name for an app, that you use on the iPad, and you can turn on screen recording. So basically, it just records a time lapse of you working. And it doesn't show everything, but it shows you manipulating and doing things. Obviously, if you're, you know, plopping in a photo and then, using that as a reference image and painting over the top or drawing over the top, that is showing that that you're making that file in a certain way. If all of a sudden a photo just appears in your proposal, well, you start to question that.
Yeah.
And everybody has different ways of working, so there are different ways to suss this out. And yeah, and I think ultimately, to Nori's point, in some ways, if things start to look like AI, there is a distinct look, at least currently, with a number of things, a number of illustration types. And I think even if something looks like AI, and a visitor could come to our town and say, that mural's AI, that's problematic. We shouldn't, we shouldn't be basically awarding jobs to people who make work that looks like it. I severely question that anyone would, but I'm just saying as an example. And this is all part of the RFQ process more than it is the proposal process, because hopefully we can get there before we even get to RFP. So anyway, it's a lot. We should get coffee. I'm happy to tell you all my favorite things about it. Okay, we have nothing else really here. We have open discussion, which seems like we kind of just did. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the order? And if not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I just had one note of
Yeah.
something that I've been working on that I just took on myself, was creating kind of like an music artist directory. And so I just started it and kind of shared it out on social media, the goal being to try to create an aggregate of music artists that are local to Norwalk and in the surrounding area. And my goal was to just get it started, but potentially like bring it to the commission. I know there exists some iterations at this at the state level and perhaps also at the local level.
Mhm.
But I wanted it to be more current and I wanted to just be able to give more people opportunities. I think, obviously, I think sometimes when things come up, people are mostly using their resources and the people that they know are 1 to 2 degrees of separation. And so I thought that that can provide for some more opportunities. So, again, it's just a personal project at this point, but it's just something that I've been thinking about and trying to work on.
Yeah, that's great. Melissa has her hands up.
I do want to point out we do actually have an existing one that's a little outdated, so you might want to just check with Sabrina. I think she has
Yeah.
that copy.
Yeah, be good for it to
Yeah.
live on Visit Norwalk or something too, maybe eventually.
Yeah. No, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I figured we
Well
had
done.
something.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like, let me just get it going and then figure out again maybe some type of fusion with it being a commission project. I just didn't because we're doing the events and everything else. I was like, I don't want to take on too much in terms of just running things through the commission. But I think eventually that would make sense.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do
Second.
I have a second? Thank you, Steve. Brian Kessler, vote aye. Melissa Matuska,
Hi.
Stephen Rust,
Aye.
Nori Gruden,
I.
and Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes carry. I will see you all in April, if not before.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.